This is Bare Bones with Jessy and B.
I'm Jessy.
And I'm B. And today we are joined with Voodoo sitting in between us.
Voodoo-lini.
As usual. And we're going to be talking about conflict resolution. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty uncomfortable topic. I mean, I think that we get into difficult topics in general, but this one in particular is, and Voodoo's, doing a little growl right now.
Who knows?
She's feeling very confrontational.
Yeah. Per usual.
This one is particularly difficult.
Agreed. Because we're not perfect. We fight like every other human in America does when they're in a relationship. We have conflict, we have disagreements, we have things where we don't necessarily see eye to eye initially. And yeah, we just want to kind of go over, the ways that we navigate our disagreements when we get into them. And, first we'll start with like the past. How did we work up to this point we're at right now? So what were some patterns from your past when you were faced with conflict?
Yeah. I mean, and I think that it's important to talk about the past because we have not always resolved, like you were saying, we haven't always resolved our conflict in these ways that we are now, which feels so much more effective and healthy and gracious. So in the past, I've noticed that I would yell, my voice would get elevated.
Right.
And I would have no self-awareness of how angry I was getting, and I would just get to the point of screaming. Because I would get so heated.
Same. I think in the past, I was very reactive instead of responsive. I wasn't hearing what the person was going to say. I was thinking about how I was going to respond, and usually I could be very spiteful. Especially if I was, I look back and I'm like, I was totally triggered in this moment, and I didn't even realize how triggered I was, and I didn't channel that anger in like a healthy way. I totally like lashed back out at the other person and said some really hurtful things because I was hurting.
Yeah, you're so caught up in the moment. I mean, I think that that's what can happen in a lot of conflicts, especially when you're, having conflict with your partner. Right. I think it can look differently, if it's with a friend or a family member, but we're talking about partnerships in particular. The other thing that I would do is, if I didn't yell, or maybe even after yelling, I would go into a mode of totally shutting down and suppressing any feelings. Probably because I just didn't feel safe. Right. And I honestly, in the past, I didn't like to feel, I have history of addiction, and all of that was connecting to numbing my feelings. So I would just shut everything off.
Right. I think what I would do, in a sense, I kind of shut things off, but I would like still be holding on to it. It was like a grudge holder kind of thing. And then I would just kind of, I would pretend. I would be like, everything's okay. I would totally rationalize what had just happened and then sweep it under the rug and then move on. But I wasn't really like moving on from it. It was there. It just compounded over time until it was like explosive.
Yeah, that's so dangerous. And, being in that mode over time can certainly create not only more issues in relationships, but it can create disease in the body. We can see that manifest physically. Right. So I'm really glad that you are breaking out of these patterns.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you are too. That's not to say that we haven't faced these things from our past. It's just totally something that we're still learning to navigate through together.
Every day, forever. We're always learning. We're always growing. We're always expanding into a better version of ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, I think that we're just at a space where we've gone from one thing and we've leaped into a really, really different reality. And we can see a really big contrast with the way that we're communicating. So that's why I feel like it's important for us to talk about it. Of course, there's always going to be room for growth. So like even in a year from now, I'm sure we're going to be saying like really different things.
Of course.
That's really cool to think about.
It is. Yeah. Well, I just look at like the stark contrast between, you know, me even a year ago before I met you to me right now. And it's like, wow, I've totally shifted that whole like reactive mentality to actively listening when somebody is speaking to me, when there's confrontation, and like taking that time to respond.
Yes. Yeah, totally. So let's talk about a few things that like we're implementing now that are very different from in the past. So like I'll say first, it has been at times, you don't make me angry very often, but when you do, because you do, I have found it really difficult to be conscious of how I'm saying whatever it is that I'm saying. So like I have to be really aware of not only like the elevation in my voice if I'm getting really passionate, but also like my tone.
Right. Because that tone can come crazy. That tone can come real crazy at me. And then like I feel myself starting to get reactive, you know, because I'm like triggered by that. And then like, you know, there's just like this buildup. I feel like my whole body get warm. Whoa. Like my heart is just kind of like, you know, and I'm feeling like, okay, yeah. But that's, you know, where I have learned to like, when I feel myself getting that way, I just started implementing like a pause. And I'm like, this is the time, like, I don't want to say anything that's going to be hurtful or upsetting. I don't want to be aggressive. I don't want to be, just reactive. So, you know, it's been really like profound actually to just be like, okay, babe, I need a pause. I need to regulate my feelings, my emotions right now, and actually think about what you're saying to me before I respond to you. I just need a pause. But with saying that, like, it's really important that the person who puts the pause out there reinitiates the conversation later.
Right. Like you were saying, they have to press play.
Correct.
And I give that advice to the couples that I see as well. And when you can actually implement the power of the pause, it really works. And I think oftentimes because usually there's a person in a relationship that wants to do the pause and then the other person wants to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
I found that even though I'm the one that wants to keep talking about it, the pause is really helpful for me too, because maybe I wasn't even totally aware that I actually needed some time to go regulate. Right. And giving that like at least, sometimes it's 5 to 15 minutes, just that small window can create so much shift.
Correct. Yeah. No. And when I say pause, you know, obviously like listen to your body. But I'm not saying like put a pause on it for 24 hours. Like, you know, you gotta like revisit it within, you know, a certain frame of time, you know, I feel like, you know, if you let it go for that long, it could just be forgotten and not addressed, or it could be, you could very easily fall into that, okay, let's sweep it under the rug and not address it, and nothing gets resolved.
Right. I say never let it go for more than like 2 days. Yeah. Sometimes you need a night, but I would agree, never more than 24 hours. Yeah. That could put you in a danger zone.
Right.
The other thing that I feel like I've shifted is even when I still can shut down. Like I'm not, like we're saying, we're not perfect at this. Right. But sometimes when I notice myself wanting to shut down, or maybe I even do sort of shut myself off, then my bounce back is really quick. I'll come back to you and I'll reopen myself and I'll say, I'll express my feelings. I go right there and I name them. And I'm actually really proud of myself for that.
No, it's like,
really powerful. It's just not hitting me.
Yeah. Well, no, there's totally been a shift even from the time we began dating to present day that I've noticed, you know. And Yeah, like we're both just a work in progress. I feel like I've really been better about asking for the pause. Like sometimes I get so swept up that I forget that that's even an option, and you're like, oh my God, I'm like so overwhelmed. And then it's like, oh wait, I totally have, the power to pause this conversation for now and go back to it. But I think another thing I really struggled with that I'm definitely getting better at is just naming that I'm even bothered by something. Like that was totally something that was a struggle, I feel, in the beginning.
Extremely. Yeah. Like I feel like I was really inviting you quite a bit to like, okay, how are you feeling? And you'd be like your quintessential answer, I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Everything's fine.
But really, there's like a fire raging inside of me.
Like we all know what fine means,
right?
Okay?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. And like me having the background of being a therapist, like that's like that was so like that's like kind of like a pet peeve, like I'm fine, I'm good. Like let's be more descriptive.
Yeah.
It's like just my training.
Yeah. But that was totally something that I struggled with. And it's still something, I find myself, having to power through at some points in time, even now, just being like because, sometimes you don't even know that something's wrong until you sit with it.
True.
For a little bit. But then like bringing it up, naming it like, hey, I'm feeling weird today. I'm feeling off. It is what it is, so there's not this just like, I don't even know how to act around you. Like what's going on? It's named.
Yeah, there's so much power in naming it. Like yesterday when you were feeling off, like you were just able to be like, you know what? I'm off. I don't know why. I just don't feel good. And I'm like, okay, cool. I get it. I have off days too.
Right. So like, don't take it personal. It's just, yes, something that I had to sit with and do like my own process.
Right. I mean, and if you didn't name that, that could have created a lot of potential conflict and misunderstanding.
100%. Because you would have taken everything personally. You would have been like, why is she acting like this? Why is she being this? Why is she being weird?
Wrong with me?
Right. Did I do like something? Start turning it on yourself? Like, oh, am I doing? What did I do? But really, it didn't have anything to do with anything. So,
right. So, I mean, I think that brings us to the next point is like, it's not us against each other. Like, I think it's really important for couples to remember that, especially like if they're on the brink of an argument, it's them, it's us against whatever issue.
I feel like that's been really like, profound for us in a lot of ways to really like, reframe, when you're in the midst, when you're in the heat of the moment and like taking that step back and being like, wait, this is like us against this issue. It's not me against you. It's not you against me. Like we can figure this out together.
Yeah, well, it makes you feel, or I should speak for myself. It really allows me to feel much less alone. I feel like softened in that, and I feel relieved.
Right.
Too, when we can lean into that reframe.
Sure. I do too. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think, I think it's, we both had this experience in past relationships where, when you're in the middle of confrontation, we were subject to conditional love. And, when you're in the heat of the moment and you're fighting, with those past partners, like it was always like, okay, well, I'm going to take this love away from you because you're not agreeing with me.
Right.
And that's not what we've cultivated between us.
But we both still hold a conscious, not a conscious. We both still hold a subconscious fear that I think love is conditional. I think that we're working to heal deeper layers of that, but it's still there. And I think that that's why sometimes we can have such difficulty with one another being angry because there's that fear of, oh my gosh, you're angry. Yeah. Are you going to love me?
Yeah.
Are you going to leave me?
Yeah. Are you going to abandon me? Yeah. Like, that's totally like a real feeling
Yeah.
that we've both had to like work through.
And if anyone else has those fears too, which I'm sure we're not alone, like that's not just your past relationships, like that probably goes back deep to like childhood stuff.
Right.
So nurture the inner child.
Yeah.
However it is that you choose to do that, nurture your inner child when you are aware that those fears may be coming up.
Right. I think it's really important too to, you know, honor each other's process. You know, you said the other day, you were like, sometimes, dude, I just like don't understand you. I don't understand like the way your emotions work, the way your mind works, like where you like what's going on. And like I feel the same too. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't get you, dude. Like what are you even saying? You know, but like it's important to like give each other space to process your emotions and also just, you know, reassurance goes a long way too when you come back together after, you know, rectifying a confrontation. Like reassurance goes a long way, especially if you know that your partner has this subconscious trigger of feeling like, you know, abandonment, or, you know, you have a trigger surrounding you know, past relationships.
Well, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when I've had those moments of fear that maybe you wouldn't love me anymore because you were angry with me, like you reassuring me that you love me and that you're here, and simultaneously you can still be angry. It's like, oh wow, yeah, like we're complex beings.
Right.
That can all exist at the same time.
Right. I can have more than one emotion at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can love you and like be pissed at you.
I can love you and want to kill you.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
She's not kidding. She's not kidding. She's crazy. Somebody help me.
Oh,
just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we're kind of getting into like what is helpful in these situations, I want to go back to the inner child. Do you have ways that you tap into your inner child? Do you ever do that work? I don't know if I've asked you this.
I feel like at times I do. When like you've triggered me in those ways.
What does that look like for you?
Sending her a lot of love and reassurance, you know, if I feel like, you know, there's just this, you know, when you're so, you know, we're talking mostly about romantic relationships, but it's all tied together, you know, like having that like conditional love be a fear, like having that abandonment fear, you know, it's going to be taken away. But like sending that part of me a lot of love and reassurance that you're not going anywhere and everything is fine. There's totally unconditional love between us. You know, this too shall pass. Like this is just a little bitty blip. And, you know, this moment's we're gonna totally overcome anything.
Okay, so you do reassuring your inner child.
Right.
Okay. I do something similar when I do this work, and I invite my clients to do this work too, but just like imagining yourself at whatever age, you know, anywhere from like 3 to, I mean, no, it could even be infancy actually, but whatever age like your inner child, however she or he is showing up, meet her or him where they're at, and like giving them a warm embrace. Or maybe even imagining them leading you somewhere outside. Children love to go outside and just to be out in nature. So just like, and this is kind of different. So imagining you present day being led by your inner child somewhere outside and just spending time with them and just seeing, like, just being open to what they show you. They could show you like some memory that this whatever trigger is connected to, and it's like, oh my, I didn't even know that this was connected.
Right.
Or maybe it's just really simple and they just want it. Like I've had clients where she followed her inner child outside and she just wanted to play in the dirt, climb trees, have fun.
Yeah.
like just being a witness to that is so profound.
Right. I love that. I love that you touched on that.
Cool. Something was telling me to.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people could really,
benefit. And I feel like a lot of people talk about, okay, go to your inner child, send her love, but like, what does that really look like? So I kind of like to break it down for people because I think that could be a lot if you're just starting out with something like this.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling? Should we go into the helpful tips?
Yeah, we were already there, honey.
Okay.
We've already been in this space, actually.
Oh, okay.
Have we not been giving helpful tips?
Well, I guess. I mean, the 3 Ps, man.
You're cute. Say the 3 Ps, baby.
No. Patience. Pause. Process.
Oh my God, you're so cute. She's turning so red right now.
Yeah. Hey, stop. Stop.
Okay. Patience, right? Giving yourself and your partner total patience, which is so hard.
It's very difficult.
At the moment, especially.
It's very difficult. Because you tend to like want to move through things very quickly.
I process really quick.
Right. Whereas like I need, like
5 hours.
I need like an hour. I need like half an hour to an hour.
Like 5 hours.
Okay, let's relax.
You need like 5 days. Sorry.
Okay. Anyways. I need like a good half hour to like an hour to just, process my shit.
You are such a feeler. You feel so intensely and so deeply, and you actually do give yourself the space to go into that. Whereas I feel like I know I feel intensely and deeply, but I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I give myself all that space to process it. I think my mind is just like, okay, let's go to the next thing.
Yeah.
So like maybe I'm like storing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas you're moving through it in the moment, and I'm just like, all right, come on. Like my ego's like, let's go. Go.
Yeah.
So maybe this is an invitation for me to slow down and be more patient with myself.
You're learning to be more patient with me, so now you need to focus on you.
Touche. What's the next P?
Process.
Right. So we're talking about different processes. Likely you do not have the same process as your partner.
Right.
Even if it looks similar, there are some nuances.
Of
so
course.
Creating space for the differences and honoring that.
Right.
Honoring the different emotions that are showing up. Like
not taking it personal.
Right.
Whatsoever. Right. And then the third helpful tip again is the pause. That's been like instrumental in the way that we handle conflict. Just taking that pause, taking the space. You're both able to go regulate your emotions, actually like go back into your heart and not lash out at each other. Yeah. But again, if you hit pause, you have to be the one that goes to hit play again.
Right.
You can't just hit pause and then expect your partner to come back.
Yeah.
Right,
because then that would be disrespecting the space that you had asked for in the first place.
Exactly.
So the last thing that I feel is probably the most important, and it's very simple. Just know and understand that you're going to make mistakes. Give each other grace, give yourself grace, and like know too that at the end of the day, you and this person love one another, and try to give each other the benefit of the doubt too. Sometimes I notice that I can get defensive and I'm like, well, why would you say that in that way? Or what does this mean? Trying to be like really cryptic, like, no, like this person loves me. This person's genuine. And just because my defenses are up, then I'm trying to look for maybe like an ulterior motive. But truly, you two are doing the best you can with what you have at every given moment. And I do believe that pretty much everyone on this earth is doing just that.
I 100% agree with you. I think that's like really, really important because I do the same thing. You know, I tend to get sometimes super defensive, you know, right away, but
yeah, you do.
Learning to just, wow.
I'm feisty.
So feisty.
I love you.
I love you. Anyways, lost my whole train of thought, babe.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said that.
I don't know either. You keep doing this. We're closing out.
Let's close it out with some integration. So if you can find a comfortable seat and have a straight spine, relax your shoulders, begin to close down your eyes, gently breathing in through your nose, feeling your full belly expand. And as you exhale, just allow your body to completely relax. Just following that natural flow, breathing in, breathing out. And as you breathe, just locate any tension anywhere in the body. Maybe it's between the shoulder blades. Perhaps there's tension in the face or the jaw. And as you bring awareness to that tension, as you exhale, just allow that tension to melt away. With each exhale, that tension is dissolving. Keep flowing with the breath. And as you come more into present moment awareness, I invite you to take whatever resonated with you from this episode. Allow it to be recorded into every cell of your being with the breath. And anything that was not resonant, just leave it here in this space. It's not for you, and that's okay. 3 more deep breaths. And I invite you to gently come back to your body, keeping this natural state of peace, of calmness, slowly allowing light in through your eyes. And as you begin to come back, just notice what could be different about your body, about your mind, your energetic field. Just notice any differences. I notice that I'm feeling less tense. So that's nice.
Feeling a little more relaxed.
Lovely.
Lovely. Okay. Well, with that being said, don't forget to like, share, review, comment. Yeah, let us know what you think and how this resonated with you. We look forward to seeing you next week.